Alright, welcome back. My name's Rob, this is Sarah.
And this is Wicket.
And usually we're building something fast and cheap. In this case, we are driving across the country, avoiding natural disasters, and purchasing something large and dumb. Before we get into that, first we're going to show you guys the previous few days in our lifted all-wheel drive camper Astro. That is Project Bad Astro over there, so let's do that now.
We made it out of state.
Later, Wisco. That doesn't look good.
You really want it to stop raining, Sarah?
I do. This is crap. It's no fair.
Sarah, what color is the storm cell on the weather app?
It's pink. But then there was a part of it that I didn't know there was a color beyond pink. That was a lot of rain in a very short period of time.
One could say ultraviolet.
Ultraviolet, maybe. Yeah. That got really interesting really fast.
Wow. All right, we're in Council Bluffs, stealth camping at a casino. There's some RV parking that's paid, but well, you don't have to pay if you're not hooked up, so free.
Yeah, there's like a whole line of hookups behind us, but the rest of it is night one. Part of a windmill. Oh, it's not the blade though, it's the middle section.
And what you could say, shaft.
The shaft, yes, the shaft of a windmill.
First shaft of the day. What's the name of it again?
Strategic Air Command Aerospace Museum, I think.
Isn't there like some acronym though?
SAC, yeah.
SAC.
SAC. I think it's Strategic Air Command. The giant blackbird hanging in the atrium is the best part.
I almost stole the tip of one of the engines off one of those in Arizona once.
Okay, well, we won't put that in the video.
Alright, the weather is predictably terrible in the worst state in the country, which is Nebraska. Worst state ever. If you guys live here, I'm sorry, but it's
Worst state ever to drive through. How about that?
the weather is bad, the scenery is bad, the state bird is corn.
I'm sure there are wonderful parts about Nebraska.
Yes, the borders, right when you're leaving.
Oh, snap. Okay, we're in New Mexico, finally out of Kansas and briefly Oklahoma. And look, it's not just flat. There's a tiny little something over there of elevation.
Very happy to not see flat and 40 to 60 mile an hour gusts of side winds.
Yeah. It's just like dirt in
Makes
Kansas.
me want to sell meth.
I don't know. No, we're not going to do that. No, we're not going to. No Breaking Bad, thank you.
We are in New Mexico and there happens to be a lot of wildfires happening. Check this out. It's all smoke.
I don't know if it's a lot of wildfires or one really, really big one.
How many acres?
97,000 acres. It
Wow,
says.
that is an extremely specific guess.
I read it. The fire grew more than 22,000 acres between Friday afternoon and early Saturday, and is now the largest active fire in the nation. Good. Good then.
Right there, largest in the nation.
Yep. And there's another one further north that's separate from this big one. That's
Red.
poor New Mexico.
We are just north of Santa Fe, and these are the LED bulbs from Novesite. We've driven halfway across the country with these so far. They're definitely brighter than my stock bulbs. Alright, so now we're in the middle of nowhere. This is the low beams and high beams. So, pretty punchy. Alright, we are in Ojo Caliente, and we're gonna go for a hike, and then we're gonna look at something cool.
The cactus is gonna bloom.
Sniff it.
I'm good. I think it's sniff it. Huh?
It's a great try.
Hey.
What town are we in? I don't even know.
Taos. Well, it's Ojo Caliente is a town as well, but it's the closest like major city is Taos.
In case we get lost.
In case we've been going the wrong way this whole time.
So at the end of this, there's like a graveyard of weird 1950s trailers. Got the Spam cans. This one's really cool. Wow, all mid-century. This one's dope. And I love all the bent plywood. Oh, hello, bird. I want to look at this bus. You like buses, Sarah?
I do like buses.
Hey, it's still there. Straight 6.
Think it starts?
Good. It has compression. Remember in Game of Thrones when they did those weird spirals for like absolutely no reason and never explained it? Alright, we are on our way to Santa Fe. We're going to stop at
La Casina.
La Casina. Super cool restaurant. Grab a burrito to go.
Breakfast burrito. They have like a breakfast burrito and a coffee special thing at the like deli part that he's been talking about the whole trip. So.
Yeah, very excited. Also very excited because we're going to look at a vehicle that will officially be the largest vehicle I've ever driven. So that's exciting. And hopefully that works out, and then we're going to be headed north to some land.
I'm proud this isn't working. We can whip free right now. Does it drive?
I hope so. It didn't drive or run very well.
Very well is the key word. That's kind of how we work, right?
So I had to find a diesel specialist to replace the injectors, which are way more expensive than I thought they'd be. But I think things will work out. Brakes.
Oh God.
Are you excited or nervous?
I'm very excited about owning it. I'm nervous about driving it or you driving it or getting it through the mountains to where it needs to go. That part. I'll be a lot more excited about it once it's in its semi-permanent home.
Basically, we're looking to put a shed on this land, and the price of building materials was so expensive that...
For something not very cool and not up to Rob's standards.
Yeah, and then I started looking at building it myself. Even that was like $5,000, like for minimum, just, and then I got to do all the work. So then I started looking at large vehicles, and now this is happening. And
we thought about just getting another Astro to just sit there and have like a collection of Astros. That would have been one way to go. So you just stumbled across this, right?
Yeah, I wasn't looking to do anything like this. It just seems like a smarter idea than spending $5,000 for like an 8-foot shed.
Okay, so Rob got his burrito that he's been looking forward to the entire trip. And how was it?
Excellent.
All right.
La Cocina is awesome.
Yes. Definitely worth the stop. And now, where are we going, Rob?
We are going to Krebs Automotive in Santa Fe to look at something ridiculous. So, we're almost there.
There's a sneak peek.
I'm gonna go pull it around. Alright, driving the bus. Haven't named it yet. Suspension is not great, but it goes and stops and turns, and yeah, so far so good. This is nuts. The door popped open. I didn't latch it right, but we're just gonna keep her moving. Give her the beans here. Torque! It says a 7.3 diesel in it with a touch under 200,000 miles, so it should be good for many more. I had to pay to have it serviced. This van was, or bus, was not operational when I contacted the owner, and it needed injectors. Holy crap, I did not think injectors were going to be so expensive. Now, could I have done this myself? Probably, but we're on a road trip, so I actually paid a diesel shop to swap out the injectors and get this thing road ready, and I'm still gonna have a ton of work to do on this thing, so I figured, you know what, let's just bite the bullet. It's still gonna be a total project bus. As you can see, it's not in like perfect condition here, but you know what? It's got good bones and it doesn't have a bajillion miles. And even if it did, 7.3 diesel! It's my first diesel ever. Pretty geeked about it, to be honest. I mean, it sounds awesome. It sounds like a big rig. So we're cruising and decided to look at some of these switches. One of them will operate this fan. Let's see if I can make it happen. Yeah. Also has an anti-theft stereo, aka nothing in duct tape. We're gonna stop in a minute and see how Sarah's doing and get some fuel and check the fluids on this thing. Nom nom nom. It makes the Astro look really tiny.
It does.
Mystery hole. You want to come help me with something quick once you get that going?
What?
I need you to push on the outside of that door.
Sure.
Now push on the bottom. There you go. Alright, go look.
Holy shit. It'll last a while, right?
Theoretically.
Okay.
So we have stopped at 2 gas stations in New Mexico because the front windshield of the van is disgusting. And we're just trying to find some squeegees, but apparently New Mexico does not believe in squeegees. So hopefully the 3rd time's the charm. One of these gas stations has some squeegees before we get into the middle of nowhere. Not that my windshield is a whole lot better. Honestly, I'm kind of like surprised how well this thing drives. I mean, it's big, but once it's at speed, it kind of feels better to drive than the Astro. I don't know if that means these van-based school buses drive really well or Astros drive really terrible, but yeah, once it's at speed, it's pretty relaxed and I don't know, not so bad. Not what I was expecting. I was expecting driving the Astro across Nebraska with 40 to 60 mile an hour crosswinds was much more difficult than driving this thing. This is like, it's windy today too, and it's just doesn't seem to care a whole lot. I don't get it. Anyway, we're going to try to find another gas station. Hopefully they got squeegees. I just hit a rub strip and my fuel gauge, temperature gauge, and speedometer all just went out. That's not a good sign. All my gauges went out. What's with me and vans and gauges lately? What the F? Look at this. Nothing's working. Why? I haven't even had this thing an hour yet. Okay, so I quit recording. I was like, this is stupid. I wonder if the smacking the dash thing will fix it. So I gave the dash a smack. Gauges are all working again. That's ridiculous. All right, so when something goes wrong on this thing, just kick it. It'll probably start working again. All right, gas station number 3. Do they have squeegees? Oh man, I really want to do donuts in this thing. Oh, you totally could. What's up, lady?
Hey.
I kind of want to go do donuts in this thing.
Please don't.
I think it could really easy.
Let's just get it to where we need it to go before we mess around too much.
All right. I think bus.
I really don't want to have Kate to fix it and have to have it towed.
Yeah, I think bus donuts are gonna happen at some point though.
That's fine. Stupid. Wow, this is awesome. Nothing like canyon carving in a freaking school bus, boys.
So this is a 1999 Chevrolet Astro minivan. Does more than a minivan can because it's a little bit bigger. I built this thing a couple years ago. It's lifted about 3 inches and has a locking diff, Chinese diesel heater, roof fan, and a lithium power bank. Back here, Sarah installed all this stuff. I wasn't a fan of putting the badonkadonk on the back, but she put it all together and made it happen while I was busy at work, so good job. So I'm going to talk about this school bus, but I really don't know what I'm talking about because I've owned it for about an hour. I was told it was a 2002, but the title says 2003, and it's a Ford E450 with a 7.3 liter Power Stroke diesel. So torque for days, boys. This thing wasn't working when I bought it, and what I wound up doing was calling every diesel mechanic in the area and getting quotes. I was kind of in sticker shock for how much diesel injectors cost, but apparently that's what they cost. So this thing's been converted a while ago. It's definitely a project bus though. I mean, there's a lot of little things that need attention. So probably going to be doing some interior work. We're going to be rebuilding the front suspension, and I'm not even sure what else yet. What do you think about this thing?
So far I love it, and it hasn't broken down yet, so...
Are you excited to drive it?
I'm nervous to drive it. He says it's not so bad, but I feel like I'm going to go careening off of a cliff, so we'll see. First gust of wind's going to take me into a ravine, you know, whatever.
Yeah, this is one of the really cool features on this thing.
I'm excited about this. Maybe we could just like hang out up here
Oh yeah.
to put a little lounge spot. I need to know what to do when the gauges go out again. You just bonk here.
Yep. Sometimes it takes a couple tries. What? Maybe it's not started.
Oh, there we go. You have to crank that really far.
Also, the shifter is a little loose.
Okay.
You need to go past where it says D and almost to 2, and that's actually D.
Okay. There's a D joke in here somewhere, but I'm a little too nervous.
Sarah, just find the D. Find the D.
So apparently, for some reason, I'm about to drive a skoolie. Okay, so I have to like stand up to see because we're doing this weird thing, trying to get back on the road, and I can't see out the window. I feel like I'm about as wide as the entire road, both lanes, which, you know, I'm probably not, but... Ooh, there's some torque. Okay, okay. Torquey little sucker. Not used to that. Usually when you try to accelerate in the Astro, it's sort of like... This just went.
So I have way too many projects, but this is serving multiple purposes. It will be home base out west, and honestly, after looking at the cost of building materials for a shed, it seemed like the school bus made way more sense. The other thing is when you're building at altitude, you have snow load ratings, and that jacks up the price of things considerably. So yeah, we're gonna put a bus on it. Not a bird.
I don't know. I'm not confident. I think I'm doing well. I don't know. It's a little bouncier though. Like it rides nice in the sense that it's soft that way, but you almost porpoise, kind of like you do on a boat, with some of the ups and downs. But it corners actually a lot better than I expected it to. It's still a big brick, but doesn't feel like it's just gonna tumble over, which I really thought it would, so we'll see. We're about 10 miles into it, so
see some ponderosa pines headed north. I see some big hills up there. That's where we're headed. Can't wait.
We made it.
We're in Colorado. And
Still a little ways to go, but I wasn't sure we were going to make it to Colorado, so I'm going to take the win.
yeah, got about 30 miles to go. Bus is driving beautifully, other than smacking the dash every few minutes.
Knock on wood.
I love Southwest Colorado. The weather is fantastic.
Okay, we're about a mile away. We're gonna have first looks. It's gonna be exciting. Fingers crossed.
Favorite place out west, purchased land, and I have never seen it before. Rolled the dice on this, and it was affordable because there's nothing there, but it's in a really cool spot. I'm excited about it so far, but I haven't seen it, so this was a huge purchase for me, lifelong dream. You know, wanted to move out here since I was like 11. And not moving out here permanently, but gonna have land out here. So, pretty freaking geeked right now. Stared at this on Google Maps quite a bit, but I have not actually seen it, so it already looks way different than I thought. Well, there's places to park.
There sure are.
So yeah, this is our first walk around the property.
Do you love it?
Yes.
Awesome. Pretty cool.
Yeah, I have no idea what we're gonna do here yet, but there's a big flat
Something.
spot for something.
You're doing something.
And you know what? No HOAs, so I can start parking shit boxes here immediately.
Oh boy. Better than I thought. I drove a bus, you guys. That's weird. That was new.
And we made it.
Yeah.
So this is the new Western home base of operations,
Base Camp Bravo.
and there is nothing on it besides a bus. The whole reason we even looked into getting a bus was because sheds were outrageously expensive, and building one was also crazy. So this, I don't know if it made sense, but that's how I justified it. This was the cheapest SKOOLIE conversion we could find, so it's definitely going to need some work.
We'll make it our own.
So there's going to be some upcoming videos on that, and then there's also going to be some upcoming videos on this land, which has pretty much nothing on it. No water, no power, no sewer, nothing.
Just me.
So we're going to see if we do an off-grid thing. I don't know. This is YOLOing on some crazy stuff. I guess when people hit a midlife crisis, they're supposed to buy a sports car, but instead I bought that thing and this pile of dirt. So
Teamwork.
cheers, boys. Stay tuned.